Hey guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel, and welcome to this tutorial video. Now on this YouTube channel we'll be talking a lot about logo design, branding, and some freebies that will come along the way. In today's tutorial video we'll be creating a logo for a Chinese based business. In this video you'll be able to get to see how you could use how you could create a mood board, create your color palette from it, and then use it to create your logo. So without further ado, let's jump right into today's session. Okay guys, before us we have our brief. Okay, we have our logo brief. So let's quickly zoom in so that we can read through our logo brief. Now the logo brief stated that the brand's name is Duyong Stores, and they are a small-scale Chinese business that manufactures handcrafted electric lamps that both serves as antiques and home/office use. They are in need of a logo design, apparently. Now, their target audience is adults. That means they want to target adults, probably people between the ages of 30 and above. They want to convey a sense of culture, originality, and uniqueness. And we both know that the Chinese, they don't joke with their culture. That is, they can die for their culture. So we need to make sure that we're able to convey, their motive, the description of the business. We need to convey it into the logo designs that we'll be creating today. So now they also went further to say that they want a logo that can be used on social media pages, printed materials, and for motion graphics, which simply means that they need a logo design that can work on social media pages. They want to use it for social media designs, their profile picture on social media pages. They also want to use it for printed materials, things like business cards, letterheads, and the rest of it. And they also want to use it, and the printed materials can also include banners and signboards and posters and stuff like that. And they also want to use it for motion graphics, which means they want the logo design to be versatile. Okay, so we are quickly going to write down a few things in regards to what we have in this place. So we're going to go to our text tool, or you can just simply press your F8 and it takes you to your text tool. Now let's write down some of the things that is about the logo, okay, or about the brand. So the first thing they said, let's quickly bring this in. The first they mentioned is a Chinese based business. Okay, so Chinese, that is aside. And the next thing they went further to say that they produce what? Handcrafted electric lamps. So let's just say lamps. We're just trying to draw down the things, the keywords that we'll use for our research. Then they went further to say that they also want a logo. Then going outside that, they also stated that they want to target adults. Okay, they want to target the adult as the target audience. And they went further to also make mention of they want to drive a sense of culture. They want to drive a sense of culture, originality, and uniqueness. Then lastly, they stated that they want a logo that can be used on social media pages, printed materials, and for motion graphics. Now we are going to group this category into versatility, which means they want their logo to be versatile. It should serve. They want a logo that can serve as much purpose as possible. That means they can use it in different situations and different conditions. So that is now one of the things we're going to be focused on in our today's tutorial session. Okay, so now we have our core values for the logo design, and now we have it that they are what? They are a Chinese based business. That means we need to go back to them being Chinese, and they produce lamps, that is, they manufacture lamps. Now they create, and the lamps they manufacture are handcrafted. Never forget that, which brings about the originality also. And next thing they say, they want to target the audience. Their target audience are the adults, and they also want to go further into expressing culture, uniqueness. And the logo at the end of the day should be versatile enough to work in various use or various wherever they want to make use of it, including social media pages, printed materials, and for motion graphics. Meaning they want a situation where they could use it to create maybe a logo animation, or they could use it to create they want you to create things that they can use, like add videos, and like that's advertisement videos, you know, stuff like that. So now we've been able to get our core values. Now let's put that aside and let's do away with the brief. Now we've gotten our core values, which means at the end of the day we need to do a research. Okay, we need to do a research, which means we need to research on things that have to do with Chinese, lamps, adults, culture, originality, uniqueness, and versatility. That means at the end of the day, our research we are going to undertake based on these are not going to be anything short of this our key points here. So now, in the meantime, I've already done my research and I'm going to bring in and let's create our mood board. Now, with the purpose of the mood board, I will explain a few things. So let me drag in my tools so that we can create our mood board. Now you can see here that I've already created my mood board, which contains 3 images that has to do with lamps, Chinese, and culture. So I'm quickly going to drag these 3 into my workspace. I'll drag them into my workspace. So now we have them. Let's do away with that. Now, first of all, they are Chinese-based business, right? Which brings about the red. And we both know that Chinese in China, red simply means luck. Okay, red signifies luck. It's one of the most used colors in China. Red, yellow, and white. So we already have these as part of our mood board. And this can help us in creating our color palettes we're going to be using at the end of the day. Now, as I always tell people, or as I always tell students or logo designers, I tell them, when you're designing your logo, always start in what? In black and white. So now, next up is this. We're going to use this now as the next thing we're going to do. We already have this here. Okay, so now this image here conveys culture, because without being told, wherever you see a building like this, the first thing that comes to your mind is China. The first thing that comes to your mind is China or Chinese. Whenever you see a building as such, the first thing that comes to your mind is either China or Chinese. Now, lastly, we create what? We have our lamp. And lastly, we have our lamp here. So now, we have our lamp, which signifies what the business is doing. So we will not have to find a way to draft out a sketch that will enable us to fuse this and this into one. To fuse this and this into one. Now we have our mood board. So before we continue, let's keep this aside for now, and let's bring this together and then look for a way to fuse this. So the purpose of this, I already have a sketch in hand, you know, so I'll quickly give us a rough sketch here. So now we need to find a way to combine this image and this image together to create our logo. Now, what is the first thing that, if you notice, there are 2 things that are common among them. Okay, one thing that is most common among these 2 images. Okay, let's bring this one to the front. To bring this to the front of an object, you press Shift Page Up on your key in CorelDRAW. Okay, now we have this. So let's make this image transparent so that we can be able to see the one behind it. So we go to our transparency tool. So we try to make it transparent. Okay, let's put it at 50. Try to make it transparent. Now let's zoom in. Now from here, let's try to curate or find out what is similar. Now I'm going to bring out my rough sketch, my freehand tool. Now among these 2, we have something like this. Okay, we have another thing like this, and we have another one like this. But going further, you could notice at the down part, let me increase the line width, the outline width of this so that we can see. Let me put at 20, then we make it white. Okay, now you can see what I've been doing. So, but at the end of the day, if you look deeper, you can see that in as much as the hands or the edges of the buildings keep extending, but this time around we don't just want to dwell on the building only, we also want to dwell on the what? On the lamp itself. So the best thing we can do is to try to create these 3 lines that we've already done. We try to create them, duplicate it, and then shift them under so that they can lap with this down part of this lamp. Okay, so now we are briefly going to duplicate this. So to duplicate, you can highlight. You can highlight the three of them. Then you drag from top to bottom. Then you press your Control key to make it equal. Then you press your right key to duplicate. You press your right key now to duplicate while still holding down your left key and your Control key. On your Mac is called the Command key. On Windows it is the Control key. Then while holding your Control key and the left key on your mouse, you right click to duplicate. Now we have our duplicate. Now we've been able to create something very nice, infusing both the edges of the building and that of the lamp, meaning the top of the lamp is wide and is extended out while the body is a bit slim. Then the down part is also extended out, but we're going to create something both using the lamp and the building. Now we've gotten our sketch. Let's remove both images. Now this is our sketch. It looks very sketchy, right? It looks very sketchy, but we're going to make something beautiful out of this. Now this is the idea we're going to be working with. It might look sketchy now, but just stay with me. Let's work on this. Now we are working with this, so let's begin our journey on the logo design. Now we want to make sure we get something like this. Okay, it's an abstract shape logo anyway, and abstract shape logos are logos that deal with shapes only. Abstract logos are logos that are done or are designed just by using shapes and lines. So we are going to have an idea of this. So the first thing we are going to do to create this, we have to draw a line. So we go to our line 2, our line 2. We go to the 2 points. We go to the 2-point line. Then we come to our workspace. Okay, we come to our workspace. Let me bring this in a bit. Okay, and we go to our line 2. We come to our workspace. Then we draw a single line. Okay, this is enough. So we've drawn this line. Okay, let's put it at the middle. So that means we have to go down a bit because I love working at the middle. To align your jobs at the middle, just P on CorelDRAW. You use the P key on your keyboard to align whatever element you're using to design on your keyboard. So we're going to take this somewhere here. Now we will need to duplicate this line into 11 places. Now it's already in a scene. Now we already have it as 1. That means we need to duplicate it 10 times more. So we're going to drag to somewhere here. Then as usual, holding your shift key, you drag, then you right click this time around. While still holding down your left key on your mouse, you right click to duplicate. Now we've duplicated this. Now the next thing we are going to do is to press your Ctrl D or Command D. Command D on your MacBook, Ctrl D on your Windows. We press it again. Now we have to, that means we have to press it again for 9 more times. So press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So now we've gotten our 9. Now we highlight both of them. Then we group with your Ctrl G, and then you place at the middle. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to duplicate this. We're going to duplicate this, and then now we've duplicated it. We'll rotate it angle 90. You could either rotate by tapping it again and click on the rotate key, holding your Control key down so I can get the exact shape, or sorry, the exact rotation angle. Or you could just come here to this rotation angle here and you type in 90 and you press enter. Now we've rotated it, then we place it at the middle with your P key. Now we place it at the middle. Now we're going to duplicate this again. We're going to duplicate this again. Then we'll bring it somewhere here. Okay. Now we're going to rotate it at angle 45. We need to rotate it at angle 45. So we come here, we press 45, enter, and then we have it be aligned to the middle again. Now you're going to duplicate this again. You duplicate. Okay. We're going to duplicate this, then we duplicate. Then we rotate it angle 135 because angle 135 is the other side of angle 45. So we need to duplicate it to the opposite side. So 135. There are two ways you can do this. You could either duplicate it this way, then you align to the middle, or you could just hold down this particular one that you've already aligned to the middle. You could hold down this particular one, okay? You could hold it down. You could hold down this particular one you've aligned to the middle. Then you rotate this way while holding your shift key and your left key on your mouse. You hold, then you press your control to get your exact image. Then you press your right key on your mouse and it duplicates. If that is too complicated for you, just do the previous step with it by duplicating it, rotate it angle 135, then you align to the middle. Or you could simply do this method. I prefer the shortcut. So like I said earlier, the best thing is this one that is already at angle 45. You click on it, and you come to this, you rotate it. Or if you rotate it this way, it's rotating at the edge, but you need to rotate it at the middle. So you press your shift key. Okay, now once you press your shift key, you press your control key to make it the exact opposite of the one at 45. Then you press your right selection key on your mouse to duplicate, and you have it there with you. So now we've gotten our shape. So let's zoom in. Now this is now where we'll take the next step, which is now to merge each of these lines together so that we can get this particular stuff here. We now have to merge these lines together so that we can get this here. So briefly, let's zoom in. So first we're going to highlight. Now we're going to zoom in. Okay, now we come here. We don't use your interactive fill tool, but rather use your smart fill tool. Okay, use your smart fill tool. So we're going to use our smart fill tool. Now we're going to start from here. We're going to start from here. We're going to select. Now you have to zoom in to make sure every place is well covered. Now we're going to zoom in. Now you're going to start merging all sides to be equal. You're going to start merging all the circles, all these gaps. You're going to start putting them together. Okay, so now we are done with this top side. So now we have done with this side. We are going to go further. Now we're going to leave this second line. We're going to go to the third line. Okay, we're going to go to the third line. Now we're going to start from this place. We're going to go to the third line. We're going to start from here. So this is how we're going to be doing it. I'll create a video where we'll do this on Illustrator, and you can be able to see the difference. For those of you who use Illustrator, I'll be creating this video on Illustrator, and you can see how it is done on Illustrator. Okay, so just make sure you subscribe and turn the notification bell icon on so that you can be able to know when I drop that video. So we are done with this. We're done with this. Now we're going to leave this other second line, and we're going to go to this other line. That means we are leaving two lines. Sorry, we're leaving a single line and going to the other line. So we're going to start from this line here. So that means we're going to start from here. Make sure you zoom in to make sure you zoom in always to be sure that all spaces are well selected, or are, you use your smart fill tool on them. Okay, so now we are done with that. Okay, we are done with that. So now we've been able to create this. Now we need to create the opposite. Remember, we are trying to create something like this. Okay, remember, we are trying to create something like this. So that means we need to end up creating what? The down part, which is like the opposite of what we've already done from the beginning. That means we're not going to start from big to small. Before we started from small to large, now we're going to start from large to small. Okay, so this time around we are not going to leave any line because of space. Yes, because of space. Oh, I think there's enough space. No, there isn't. This gap. No, there isn't enough space. So we are going to go with this, but don't worry, just stick with me. So we're going to go back to our smart fill tool. This time around we have been going this way. Okay, but since we are trying to create the opposite, we will be going this way this time around. So we're going to start from here. Make sure everywhere is covered. a star, we're going to be yes. So like I said, make sure you subscribe so that when I drop the tutorial video of how you can do this on Illustrator, you'll be able to know. So subscribe and hit the bell notification icon. Okay, so now we are done with that. So we're going to create these by leaving one gap. So we're going to create the other next one. Okay, so we're going to leave this gap. So we're going to start from here. And if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like bell, hit the like button so that more people could see this video. Okay, thank you. So now we've created the second one, and we are now going to create the last little one underneath this. So we're going to go back to our smart view tool, and now we're going to create a smaller one. We're going to create a smaller one. And there we have it. Now we've been able to create our logo. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to try and then remove all these lines so that we can finish up with our logo. So we're going to click this with delete, we click on this with delete, then we click on this with delete, click on this with delete. Okay, now we've gotten our logo. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to merge all of these little boxes together so that we can get our logo up and running. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to highlight this first part. Then you come here to weld. You come to this part weld, and you click weld so that it can be welded. Then you can come here, remove the outline, or let's color it black first. Let's give it the black color. To give it the black color, then we remove the outline by clicking on this empty space bar here, this one that is without color, or you can use this one. You right click, then you set outline color. Remember, I'm using CorelDRAW 2021, so if you're using a lower version, things might be easier, or but just follow the same process and you get it right. Meanwhile, this is CorelDRAW 2021. So you do same for the next one, then you weld, then you remove the outline, then you make sure in this particular one, make sure that you don't select the other part inclusive. Just select only this one, then you weld, then you remove the outline, then you color, then you select the other one, you weld, you remove the outline. Don't worry, forget about all these things, we can fix them later on. You remove the outline, then you color, then same thing, just repeat the same process for all of them. Just repeat the same process for all of them. And lastly, we have our little guy here. Lastly we have our little guy. So we weld, we color, remove the outline, and we weld. Now we have it. But remember, we have a little distortion here, and I think that was a fault from we didn't highlight this part. But meanwhile, this can easily be fixed. Now, one thing about my YouTube channel is we could create problems and we can also create solutions. So just stick around and see how that can also be solved. So now we've been able to get this, and this. Now we need to separate this. We need to separate this top part, this top three, from this lower three. Now how are we going to do that? We can't just separate this with a guess and say, oh, okay, this is enough. No, that doesn't do it justice, because one thing about logo design is you need to make sure that everything you're using needs to be well aligned, needs to be properly calculated. That means whatever you're doing to the left should equal with what you're doing to the right. Whatever you're doing to the top should equal with what you're doing to the bottom. Which means that the space between this and this should equal the space between this and this, should equal the space between this first three and this down three. So now how we are going to be able to get the exact space that is equivalent to the space between this and this to be equivalent between this top three and this down three is we're going to make a copy of one of these. Okay, we're going to make a copy, so we're going to duplicate it. Okay, now watch me carefully. Watch me carefully. Now we're going to take the edge of this. Let's give it the color like green. So we're going to take the edge of this. Okay, so look carefully. We're going to take the edge of this. The edge of this one, we're going to take it from the edge, not from the middle. Remember, I didn't select it from the middle, I selected it from the edge. Now you're going to make sure it is aligned to the edge of this first tree. Now you're going to select this tree, then group it together. Okay, now drag it down. Now make sure you select it from the edge also, and make sure the edge is aligned to this green. Now we've been able to officially get the space between that means the space between here and here is now equivalent to the space between this top three. This top three, let's group it now. This top three and this down three. So we're going to now do away with this. We don't longer need that. So now we're going to group it together. Now, before we continue, we already see what we've already gotten, right? We've already gotten our what? Our shape. Now let's bring these two together. Now you can see, let's put it at the middle. Let's reduce it a bit. And let's put this and this at the middle. Now you can see that one way or the other, we've already gotten what we've been looking for. A lamp fused together with a Chinese building. We've gotten a lamp looking logo fused together with a Chinese building. Okay, so now let's remove this and color our logo black so that we can keep on seeing it. Remember what we are fighting for: Chinese, lamps, adults, culture. So now we've been able to get, now let's do away with this. We've gotten our lamps. Now we've gotten our culture because it relates back to them, but not yet. Well, we've gotten uniqueness because this logo is quite unique. Now originality, I think we've gotten that. So now we need to deal on Chinese, adult, culture, versatility. Though the logo itself is already appealing to the Chinese, to the adults, but let's work more. Now remember, we have something we need to correct here. So in order to correct this little distortion here, all you need to do is come to your shape tool, click on your shape tool, highlight this particular box, double click the node. Okay, double click the node, and there we have it. We fixed that. You see what I'm telling you? We create problems, we fix problems. We create problems, we fix problems. So let's remove the nodes. Let's remove all these nodes and make our logo look simple. Now we remove this, select to remove them. Select this also, select them, you reduce the nodes, then remove the ones that is not needed. You select them, you reduce, you remove the ones that are not needed. Now we go over to the next one, which is the last. You select nodes, reduce them, go away with the ones you don't need. Now we've reduced all the nodes. Now we can freely work with our logo comfortably. Now the next thing, we're going to add text as usual. Now they say the name of the business is Duyang Stores. So now we're going to insert a text. Duyang Stores. Duyang Stores. Now we're going to choose a font that should resonate properly with this logo. So for the purpose of this tutorial session, I'm going to use the Averta STD. I'm going to use the Averta STD bold. Okay, I'm going to use the Averta STD bold. Now I don't want to put it straight, so let's take this under beneath the Duyang. Now the spacing, the leading between the Duyang and the stores is too much, so we're going to bring in our text tool. about running up with this tutorial session. We're going to bring in our text tool, and we're going to reduce the character height, or you can call it your leading. Let's try at 80. Stay much. Let's try 70%. Yeah, that should do it. Okay, now we remove this. Okay, now let's align both to the middle so that we can get an exact stuff. So let's increase this a bit to work well. Now, many people are always wondering what should be the space between a logo mark and the logo type. Now, personally, with my years of being a brand identity designer and a logo designer, I came to discover that in most professional cases, the space between the logo mark, okay, the space between the logo mark and the logo type is usually 20 points. But we are working in pixels, okay? We are working in pixels, and in pixels, 20 points can be converted to 83.33. 83.33. So in order for us to get the space between the logo mark and the logo type, we are going to create a little box. This is how I normally do my stuff. Like I said, I teach designers how to create designs as if they are in kindergarten. So I take them through every step. 83.33. Now we have it, so we're going to elongate it a little, then align it to the middle. Now we are going to drag it to the edge of our logo. Sorry. We are going to drag this to fit to the edge of our logo mark. Then we drag the logo type to match with it also. Now we've gotten a perfect space. Like I said, with all my years of being a professional graphic designer, I came to discover that the 20 points, which in pixels is converted to 83.33, works best for it. So we are going to select both, group them together, and align them properly to the middle. Now the next step we're going to do is to create our color palettes. Now before we continue, we can see that this already is working in black and white. So briefly, let's create a background. We come to our shaped our rectangle tool, then we create a box around this, align to the middle, and let's color it black. We remove the outline. Now let's color it black, then we color our logo somewhere here. It's white. So there we have it. You see that the logo is already working in black and white, even while we have not added any colors. Then let's try it in black, then white. Now you see that the logo is already working in black and white. So the next thing we are going to do is we're going to create our color palettes. Okay, we are going to create our color palettes. Now we're going to create 3 boxes because we are going to use 3 colors, which is red, okay. So let's create another box. 2, 3. Okay. So now let's zoom in. So for this first box, let's take it this way. Now for this first box, we are going to color it red because that is going to be our base color. So to get the right color for this, we're going to use our color picker, or you can call it color eyedropper tool. In CorelDRAW it's called color eyedropper tool. In maybe Photoshop and Illustrator it's called color picker. So to access your color picker is Shift Control E. You can see that my mouse has changed. Okay, you select on the box, Shift, just look at, going to see that my mouse cursor is going to change. Shift Control E. Now you come here, we select the red. Now we go over to this one. We already have white as default, so we're going to select the white. And this last one is going to be our yellow. The same process, so we're going to zoom in, then we select the yellow. Yes, there we have it. Now we've gotten our color palette for this logo. So now, like I said earlier, the base is going to be what? Is going to be red. So we're going to just bring in the red. Now, personally, I'll prefer to make the logo type to be the one to stand out, which is, originality, versatility. So we're going to make it stand out to be the yellow. Okay, so we are going to color it yellow. Then we leave the logo type to be in what? In white. We leave the logo type to be in white. So there you have the Do Young Stores logo design. Now, one thing before the end of this tutorial session, one thing you need to learn from this logo is, first, the logo itself, the logo mark, has already portrayed Chinese, which is China. It has gone back to the roots. It goes well with the adults, okay, with the bold text that was used in the logo type. Now it conveys culture because the logo type already depicts, you see, it already depicts what? The Chinese building, and together it depicts what? A Chinese lamp, probably handcrafted, which brings about the originality, culture, versatility. Now, in terms of using it for social media use, now let's bring this aside and let's select only the logo type. You copy with Ctrl C, then you paste with Ctrl V, then we highlight it to the middle, which is using the P key. Now let's zoom out. Okay, now imagine this as the profile picture of Do Young Stores. Imagine this as the profile picture of Do Young Stores. Very clean, minimal, culture oriented, and good, and it drives straight to the point. Okay, now imagine this as their profile picture. It goes a long way in driving to the right audience, and it speaks for them as a Chinese business. It speaks for them in culture. It speaks for them as a handcrafted original lamp manufacturers. Okay, so now in the other way, then imagine this in motion graphics. Imagine a situation whereby the motion is created in a form whereby all these are carefully in an illustrative way stacked on top of each other. They just come stacking themselves on top of each other, then the text rolls out. This can be printed and can be used on banners, billboards, business cards. Imagine this on a business card somewhere here. Maybe you just elongate it. Let's quickly do a little bit of experiment. Let's just say this is, we are not designing a business card, but just for the sake of this, so let's create something like this as a business card. And let's remove this away, and we bring this to the middle. Now we create something like this. Just drop it in here. Sorry, we just drop it in here. Just drop it in here. Then you just say you put it to the middle. Imagine this on their business card. Okay, imagine this on the business card. Imagine this on their business card. Then with the name by the side, with text like the contact details and stuff like that. Then at the back we have. Then at the back, okay. Then I just leave this. Then at the back we have the name of the brand just there, red. Then at the back we have the name of the brand just well placed at the back. Now imagine this to be a business card. You don't need to be told that this is a Chinese oriented business. Without being told, you can see that this automatically have already spoken for what? For the target audience. So in this tutorial video, I hope you were able to learn a few things about how to create a minimal logo design. I hope you're able to learn how to create a minimal logo design using geometric shapes and following the brief constructively. So now we have learned this. See you in the next tutorial video, and until next time, stay safe and stay healthy. COVID-19 is still out there. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell icon so that you can be notified when I post a new video. See you.